Thanks for watching here at 11:30. I'm Tim Elliott. Vice President JD Vance is in Wisconsin right now. He's speaking at a manufacturing facility in Plover, Wisconsin, to tout the Trump administration's economic accomplishments. Our State Capitol Bureau Chief, Vanessa Kelson, joins me now live from the newsroom to break down this visit. And Vanessa, what is the VP expected to talk about here?
He's going to talk about the economy, an issue that's top of mind for voters. This visit is coming right after President Donald Trump's State of the Union address and ahead of a very busy midterm election season. Vance's visit is to the 3rd Congressional District, which is one of the most watched, heated House battles in the state, if not the entire country. It's one that Democrats are really hoping to flip this November. Republican Derek Van Orden currently represents the district, and he's expected to appear with Vance today. President Donald Trump has already endorsed Vance in this race. And this week, national Democrats announced they're going to put resources and funding behind the Democratic challenger, Rebecca Cook, in hopes of flipping that seat blue. For now, live from the studio, Vanessa Kelson.